Call 219 here, and I got a mail call the other day, and this package actually showed up. But this is something I got from Squidload. He's around on chats and comes into my chat once in a while. And I bought a Mannlicher style gun. It was an M95 from the Wanamaker Arms Show down in Tulsa this past spring, and me and Squibby sat on the phone for quite a while trying to identify my gun. Since it was sent back to an armory at one point, it was rechambered and it had different markings on it. So it's really interesting to go through the history of my gun, the history of his gun, because he has one. And the straight pull action is coming back now. A lot of hunting rifles are starting to kind of notice this old school design, and they're kind of leaning back to it to a certain extent. But this is the book he sent me, and I like old books like this. This is the first time I've opened it and looked through it. This one is from by Paul S. Scarlatta. I hope I said his name right. But this one's going to give us all kinds of little information on the Mannlicher style action, all the armies that used it, the calibers of certain guns, as you can see there in the text there. Talking about some Arisaka 7.62x54R, which is going to be hard to come by nowadays. 30-06 7.9 by 57 Mauser, 303 British. So it goes through, like, you know, how this gun came about in its history. And that's something that a lot of people nowadays, especially younger generations, don't understand about the history of firearms, where they come from, why they were made, who used them, what they were used for in certain aspects in society today, as well as back in the day. Like this one is 1908. Bosnia-Herzegovina was officially annexed by the empire. That's the Ottoman Empire. And a lot of these countries were using this type of rifle. Hungary, they were using this gun as well. As you can see, there's some pictures there. I can't find my damn tripod, my smaller one, to look at this. So I'm kind of holding it and flipping it through. But this is a very interesting book. This is definitely one that's just not going to sit on the shelf like other ones that I've bought that they weren't that interesting. Just looking at these pictures and looking at people actually holding these guns, because there's a couple of different versions of the Mannlicher, especially the M95s. Some were cut down, some were rebarreled when they went back to armories especially during World War I and even into World War II, because, you know, as technology starts to evolve, cartridges evolve along with firearms, and it's very interesting to see this stuff come up once in a while. So I'm going to give a look at this book. I think it's very interesting. I think it's something that I'm actually going to learn even more knowledge about the firearm that I bought this past spring. And I think it's very important for other people to, you know, get into the process of collecting milsurp guns. As you can see, there's all kinds of different variants of this firearm, and the action, the straight pull action, has been around for quite some time. And again, people now are getting into hunting a lot more, especially with the COOF going on. More people are going outside and whatnot, and this is the straight pull action is coming back. A lot of people are starting to look at it. It's a quick, simple design. To tell you the truth, I've watched a lot of videos of people shooting M95s or a gun that's even got the straight pull action in the firearm itself. Like, I believe the K98, things like that, that the Germans even used. Ferdinand von Mannlicher, that's the guy that made this stuff. So he's an interesting fellow as well. So this is a pretty cool book. It's even breaks down, it takes an M-block clip. It doesn't take a magazine. You load it from the top, and as you load the last round, the clip comes out the bottom of the firearm, unlike, you know, the M1 Garand that does the famous ping, and it comes up off the top. This one comes from the bottom, so it's a pretty cool design, very innovative for its time. Milsurp collecting is something I got into a long time ago by buying old Makarov pistols, and I've got quite a few of those. I'm trying to work on the next one I get, which is going to be I think East German. Hopefully I can get this gun because I really wanted to add to my collection, especially my Milsurp collection. So this is a pretty cool book. This is something I'll look at, and I encourage people to do it. I know the importation of stuff is really getting clamped down on, and that affects Milsurps as well. And Milsurps are not cheap right now as well. So it gets kind of expensive nowadays, but back in the day, there used to be crates full of Mosins and Arisakas. You can get them for 80, 90 bucks. Nowadays, I think I bought my gun for like $4.50. So you can see we're a long ways off from back in the day where you could find barrels of these guns. Here's two different types of rounds there, as you can see. So there's a lot of interesting stuff. I'd like to find a bayonet for it because it does have a bayonet lug, and it's got the stacking lug on it as well. As you can see here, this is a stacking lug. So when you see those things stacked together in that little pyramid shape, that's what that's for, if you're going to get really nerdish into this stuff. So it's a cool book. Thanks, Wibby. I greatly do appreciate it. You know, if you're just in your infancy, or you're pretty novice, or you're pretty skilled at, you know, finding some cool guns, Milsurp is the way to go. They hold their value, and right now they're holding their value real well, so it's a pretty good investment. So that's what I got in my mail call the other day, which is the Mannlicher military rifles, the straight pull, and the turn bolt designs by Paul S. Scarletta. This is a collector's guide. So thanks, Wibby. Greatly appreciate it. Mail call. I love mail calls. If you want to send something, just leave a comment, a video or something. I'll take a peek at it, and I'll share it. Like always, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.